Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the roundtable discussion on metastatic breast cancer. We do apologize for the slight delay due to some challenges, and COVID-19 has taught us that the unexpected will strike unexpectedly. I am honored to be a facilitator for this event, which is hosted by the Cancer Association of South Africa, and I am Dr. Brenda Kubega from Health IQ Consulting, and I also serve in the Social and Ethics Committee of CANSA. We are streaming live both on Facebook and YouTube, and please engage with us and post those comments and questions, and Lucy will be assisting us in managing those, and we will be able to answer some of the questions later on. Some of you might be wondering, what is metastatic breast cancer? It is breast cancer that we normally refer to as advanced or stage 4 breast cancer. Basically, meaning that the cancer has spread to the brain or lungs, liver, and the bones. Due to the advanced disease, patients may not be able to attend face-to-face support group meetings, hence the development of the online iSurvivor program. This program was developed in collaboration with patients to ensure that it is meaningful, relevant, captures their needs, and also the patient's voices. So now we are going to meet the patients that were involved also in the design of the iSurvivor program, and also some of the delegates from CANSA.
Okay.
Oh. From scratch. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the discussion on metastatic breast cancer. The roundtable discussion is hosted by the Cancer Association of South Africa. I'm actually honored to be a facilitator of this event. I am Dr. Brenda Kubega from Health IQ Consulting, and I also serve in the Social and Ethics Committee of CANSA. Today, we're streaming live on Facebook and also on YouTube. Please use the chat functionality to engage with us. You can post your comments and your questions, and Lucy will be assisting us in managing those, and we'll also have a chance later on to answer some of the questions. Some of you might be wondering, what is metastatic breast cancer? We normally refer to it as advanced breast cancer or stage 4 breast cancer, basically meaning that the cancer has spread to other sites, which may include the brain, the lungs, the liver, and the bones. And because of the advanced disease and its impact on the patients physically and otherwise, patients might not be able to attend face-to-face support group meetings, hence the development of the online iSurvivor program. This program was co-created with patients, and this was very important to ensure that it is relevant, meaningful, and it captures the needs and the voices of the patients. So we are going to meet the patients that were involved in designing this program that are also living with metastatic breast cancer every day, and also meet some of the team members from CANSA. Introduce the panel. And in our panel, we have 3 patients, of which we are grateful to them for opening up and sharing their personal stories and taking us through the journey of living with metastatic breast cancer. So the 3 patients are Rianda van Weengaard, Ray Kasim, Murray Bezuidenhout. And then we have 2 representatives from CANSA, Cara Noble, who is a national relationship manager and has a master's degree in social work. And she was also involved in working with the patients in designing the iSurvivor program. And then we have Zodwa Sithole, who is the head of advocacy at CANSA. And she also has a master's degree, but specifically in nursing and palliative care. She also has loads of experience working in palliative care, and also lost her sister who succumbed to metastatic breast cancer. So now we'll start by now engaging in a conversation with patients that are living with the metastatic disease. I'll pose the first question to Ray. How did you and your family respond to the diagnosis of metastatic breast cancer?
Good evening, everybody. I was totally shocked, but I wasn't told I have metastatic breast cancer. I was told my cancer has spread to my breastbone and I need to start treatment on the Monday. So I was ready for nothing. And when I got home, I told my family the cancer spread. But I had to be strong for them. It was so challenging. It's actually hard on a patient because my children were young at the time. So I didn't have enough knowledge to share it with them. But the hope that the oncologist gave me is she had a patient that is still alive. And at that time, the patient was 19 years on the journey, being metastatic, where it spread to the bone. So that gave me hope. And then one day I went to a metastatic breast cancer event. And on the slides, I saw there that we don't live longer than 6 years after being on treatment. But my professor also told me, if I make it to 5 years, I'd be lucky. And I want to share with you my professor and my gynecologist who told me 5 years, and I'm here 15 years. Both actually died of cancer. So here I am today. And afterwards, I just started empowering myself. But I can tell you, metastatic was like a huge word to me. And it really ripped my soul out of my body. But I've empowered myself. I've embraced the disease. And I'm living with it. And I'm really fine because I'm active. My cancer is not aggressive. I do all my treatments. I'm hands-on. I go for my checkups every 3rd month. And I ask many questions. So yeah, it's hard, it's challenging, but you do get through it. Thank you.
No, thank you for sharing that. I'm just wondering, how did your family and maybe your intimate partner respond to the news of the diagnosis?
His grandmother was a breast cancer survivor and she had a heart attack 50 years later. So that gave him hope. But the metastatic part, it wasn't good news to him because all we all thought of was death. And I even thought of a death when I was diagnosed the first time. So it was very hard on the family. It was really hard. But I told him, I'm going to pull through. I'm going to get through this. And I really used my mind. And when you're the patient, you have to be so brave for your family. So my family took it hard, but 4 sons, 3 of my sons said to me, no, mommy, you are going to pull through. But the one really battled, especially when I lost my hair. And I always had to look for positives. Like when I lost the hair, I told him, I'm gonna save on blow dry and shampooing. And there was a day when I was very close to death, when I was constipated. And I told my husband, if I die today, and I can tell you, it's almost like peace in your heart. You can feel you're close to death. And I said, if I die today, don't tell the people I was constipated. Tell them I died of cancer. So yeah, the journey, it wasn't easy, but I got through it. And today my sons are between 30 and 40, and they're doing talks with me, creating awareness, telling people my mother's metastatic. So, I think also my experience just got me through it. I got time to actually empower and just to go through all of this. So yeah, and I try to keep positive, but I can assure you it was really not easy. But now I can easily tell people I'm metastatic. And when I go and I do my talks, and then I have to explain what metastatic means. And I think just to know that you're incurable and advanced, oh my word, I wish that I can change that. Can't I change it to something else? So yeah, incurable and advanced really shocked us.
Thank you for sharing that. You've highlighted some of the challenges that you faced personally. So the next question, I'm going to pose it to Rianda and ask her, what are the other challenges that are faced by patients that most people don't know anything about? And also maybe just take us through a week in your life.
Brenda, the thing is, and I think that is where Ray also says, us not being youngsters anymore, if you hear that C word, the dreaded C word, like my mom died of cancer and my grandfather, and seeing that as a child, that shook you, because the first thing that you think, I'm going to die. And I was a rep, so I was on the road all the time, and I loved my clients, and I love selling. I mean, I'm a salesperson. And then, okay, fine, you're going to have your boob removed, you're going to be fine, you're going to be back at work. But then when you think you're going to have chemo, they came and they said, look, sorry, you've got metastatic breast cancer. That was in 2 or 3 months after my mastectomy. I think the challenge for everyone, and the first thing, I didn't even look in the mirror because I didn't want to, because I was proud of my boobs. I was very proud, beautiful boobs. I breastfed, I expressed. My daughter was premature, so for 6 weeks I expressed. I was proud of my boobs. And then to lose that, to look at that every day, that is a shock. That's a challenge every day for everybody. But then to hear it has spread. So your first thing is when, and you ask your oncologist and you ask your doctors. And being a state patient, it is kind of difficult because your medication is, some of my medication is expensive. I have to pay for it. Luckily, my daughter's in Sydney. I've got big children. It's not that bad, but I think people with younger children, like Ray said, that is a problem. And I find it's harder on your loved one than it is for you. Because it took me a year to accept it. But then today, I happened to collide into my boss and said, I leef jy nog. I mean, it really, it shakes you even after this, it does. Because then you think back that my motto is, like my oncologist said, Rianda, you look beautiful. You're not going to die now. Be positive, enjoy. And that is what I do. You've got your off days, you've got your on days. You've got pain, then you stay put. But boy, if you're ready, then you go and you enjoy yourself. And what I find is to keep positive, always smile, and never talk about cancer, because everybody knows you've got cancer. Everybody knows. But just enjoy life. Be positive. Take today as it is. And then tomorrow, when tomorrow comes, you take tomorrow again. But it took me a year. I was diagnosed a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago. And I can't work anymore. So, yeah, financially is also a challenge for a lot of people. A lot of people are on UIF, especially now with COVID. It is a challenge. That in itself is a challenge. Depression can be a challenge. You can be depressed, and you might cry, you might be angry, you can, but always be positive. And that is how I get through my week. And obviously I've got my fur babies that keeps me going.
Yeah.
So that
Rihanna has raised a significant. Yes. No, Rihanna has raised significant points, and also how she coped, and she is coping right now with, living with a metastatic disease. I just want to ask Mari. I mean, holistic wellness has also to do with, the mental state and social well-being, etc. How do you, cope with the diagnosis and living with the metastatic disease, if you're looking at it holistically?
Do you know what? It's been, I've mentally, I'm not the same person that I used to be. I was diagnosed originally at age 42, became metastatic at age 44. So a lot of it, I have to give my husband credit. He has this way of thinking of things completely differently. Recently, I was complaining because I've managed to keep my weight stable through all the treatments. And this last year, I just don't fit into my clothes anymore. And it's really horrible. And he was saying to me, no, you're looking at it completely wrong. Percentage-wise, there's more of you to kill now, and percentage-wise, the cancer stayed the same size and your body is bigger, so percentage-wise, there's less cancer in your body. So it really helps to have that. But the trick is to surround yourself with people who do inspire you, who do uplift you. We tend to think we don't have control over our emotions. You feel the way you feel, but you actually do. Your emotions are directly related to your thinking, and your thinking is influenced by what you read, what you see, what you listen to, and the people that you mingle with. And in that way, you actually, because what you put in is what creates your thoughts, and that's what dictates your emotions. So you actually do have control over it. And it's choosing. It's an active choice every day when you wake up. You choose what you're focusing on, and you choose to focus on the good things. It's a silly example. I've got a friend who is ridden with autoimmune diseases. She's got fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis, and I've got another friend who has scoliosis. They all wake up every morning saying, thank God I'm not Marie because I don't have cancer. I wake up and say, thank God I'm not them because they're in more pain than me. So you've got to put things in perspective, but it's a choice. It's a mental choice.
Ray, another question for you. I've heard of patients that have been diagnosed with breast cancer and decided to keep those news to themselves and not to tell anyone. If any of them are listening right now, what would be your advice to them?
Yes, I get that question all the time, also at talks. I always tell people, I respect if you don't want others to know. But what worked for me is the more you share, the more it's healing to the soul. And also the more you use the word cancer, the more the word loses its power. So the more you talk about it, it becomes like a habit. So I want to tell people out there, let people know you are actually setting yourself free. For example, if I go and do a race, or I go to dragon boat paddling, or I go anywhere, people are going to ask you how you are. And I don't want to wonder, where did you hear? What did you, I don't want to have all that stress. So for me, when people tell me, I heard you have cancer, it is really fine with me. But everybody's not the same. But I want to tell the people out there, you actually set yourself free. And it's better to set yourself free because you will have stress.
Yes. Can I add something small to that? I completely agree. It's a huge relief to not have to think all the time, what should I say? Does this person know? Should I keep quiet? I've actually been in situations where I've blurted out something where the person didn't know and they were shocked. And I'm so used to just talking. It's freeing. You're correct. It's completely freeing. You don't have to think every time. It's almost like, I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's a bit like having to keep track of what you said to who, and it becomes exhausting.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Rianda did mention earlier on that the diagnosis and the condition has an impact on functionality and the ability to work. So I'm just wondering if any of you are currently working, and how are you coping, with the diagnosis and work?
Well, if I can say, well, I've only been a year that I've been at home, but it did take me a little while to get over it. So I'm not ashamed to walk without my little feet, because I had lots of problems, with the drainage. It's not completely drained, and I had infection. But it's the other people that I find, the moment they see there's an empty socket here. So that's the only time I put something in. But it took me a year to get over this and put my mental state. So now I'm basically free. I'm looking for another career, although I won't be movable long. I don't think about that, but there's always something that you can do from home, talk to people, have seminars, especially on cancer, to help people, to let them realize that cancer is not a swear word. You can live with cancer. I mean, if it comes to that, I'll get myself a nice Harley Davidson instead of that normal wheelchair. Things like that, if you think of it that way. But there's always something that you can do, inspire people, become a life coach, do this, do that. But doing the previous work, no. Driving around all day, that is going to be enough.
Yeah.
But something there. You enrich yourself with puzzles or do something that one can do. Promote CANSA, for example.
Do you know, maybe COVID actually plays into... Yeah, sorry, Brenda.
You can go ahead, yes.
COVID might actually be beneficial in that case, because people are working from home and they're doing things from home that they never thought they would. So maybe in a way it's almost an opportunity to, like you said, start a new career.
Yeah, I was also working all the time. I retired in December. So I've been diagnosed 15 years ago, and I was a senior administrator in authorizing at a huge financial institution. And what I always did, I would set goals for myself. They talk about chemo brain. I authorized millions for pension and provident funds. So I would use that as a goal every day, going to work, stimulating my mind. For me, my job was actually a stimulation. So I retired in December, and then I traveled. I just got back before lockdown, and I see every day as a blessing. So for me, my job was, I started saying I'm going to reach retirement. And also I was diagnosed at 46 and we retire at 61. I couldn't wait to retire. I said to them, I have a manager who said, when I die, she told me, Ray, when you die, I want to do your memorial. I said, hope that I'm not going to do your memorial. So the day I retired, I actually asked her to make a speech, because this is my last day. I'm retiring from a job. I'm not retiring from life. So yeah, we have to keep stimulating ourselves, and we have to talk, do self-talk to survive this journey. It's not really easy. And people say anything to you. Like, for example, when I go to a funeral, people will say, to think that you outlive this person. But then I say, but what makes you think I'm next? Anybody is next. Tomorrow's promised for nobody, whether you have cancer or not. So the day I retired, I made a long, long speech, because I was happy that I actually reached retirement. And sadly, on that day, somebody at the company I worked for died of cancer, and he was only 55 years old. Now, to me, it's,
Sure.
you know, I must count my blessings. So yeah, for me, my job was actually stimulating, and I love work, and I'm just creating opportunities for myself. Where I see these challenges, I find opportunity in challenges, just to sort of get through the day or get through my life. And nothing stops me. And like, we're all different. Like, people will always tell me, first I used to become agitated when people tell me, you stay busy, you never home. Do you know what? At the end of the day, it's my life, and that is how I'm coping.
Thank you. I'm just going to pose a question to Mari, which has been partially addressed, but basically about what she thinks the public and others need to know about metastatic breast cancer. I know that some people are wondering about the impact of the diagnosis on intimate relationships, etc. Mari, would you please respond to that?
I've made notes because this is a loaded question. The first thing that I would really, really like, even early stages, to know is being metastatic is just plain awful luck. Many people, and I myself as an early stager, chose to believe that you become metastatic because you did something you shouldn't have done, or you didn't do something you should have done. And I understand why people do that, because it makes it less scary if you can think you can avoid it. Unfortunately, we have a lot less control over it than we would like to think. So often people don't know how to relate to us, because we're the thing that they're most scared of. We're like the boogeyman, you know, it's what everyone fears to become. And we don't always look sick when we have good days. All of us are very excited to be here tonight. So we've got our makeup on and we look good. So we don't always look sick. And all of us have had it, that you meet people who actually almost don't believe you're sick. I mean, I've gotten to a stage even with doctors when I walk in, because my paperwork looks so bad. And I can see, and they'll tell me straight out, they're shocked that I don't look sick. And I often tell them, apart from the cancer, I'm quite healthy. So that's the one thing. The next thing is people always try and give you advice, and it's good, it comes from a good place, but we've got a specialist team of doctors and knowledgeable people who takes care of that. I don't need you to tell me that lemons will cure my cancer. So that's the other thing. Combined with that, we sometimes just need someone to listen. When we talk, we don't always need you to fix it. We don't always need you to give advice or to, I know it's a natural instinct. You want to help the person, but sometimes we just need someone to listen. We just need to vent, get it out of our systems, and then move on. But you need to listen, not listen to prepare to give advice. So allow us to just talk. And when it that's my hubby. when it gets to talking about and this was a difficult thing in the beginning, because if you're a realistic metastatic patient, you do realize that this is inevitable for everyone, but we are just more aware of it. So conversations do happen where you talk about death. A lot of my friends do what they call end of life discussions, where they decide on what they want done. They start making preparations. That's probably about the only positive thing about having the sword over your head, is that you can think how you want things to be, ideally. And people often stop you. They often say, don't talk about death, you're being negative. That's not it. It's just being realistic. Allow me to just, death is such a taboo. And I don't know why, because everyone is going to die. That's the one thing we're all guaranteed of. So, you know, if I want to make macabre jokes about it or say things about it, just let me talk. And the last thing, to keep it short, is don't forget about the caregivers. You just saw the hubby. Someone mentioned earlier on it's hard on other people. If I put myself in, like, say for instance, my husband has the flu, I feel so inept and so useless and so incapable of actually making him feel better. I cannot imagine what it must be like to love someone with an incurable disease, to actually stick around and to actually, support us. It is mind-boggling to me. In some way, we have a little bit of control because it's our bodies, and we get a little bit of control in deciding. They don't. They're sort of helpless on the sidelines trying to make it better. So to the general public, don't forget about them. If you're a guy, not another girl, invite my husband for a beer or take him out and go do something exciting. If you have, if I had kids, I'd appreciate it if a friend invited them over to come and play with their kids, just to get them into a normal environment again. Don't ask me what I need, because half the time I don't know what I need. Just if you see, cook a meal and drop it off. Phone, don't stop phoning. Even if I don't answer, phone again. Just the small things. Take me shopping or offer to buy groceries on my behalf if I don't feel up to it. But yeah, just be aware.
Now we'll move to Zodwa. Zodwa lost her sister to breast cancer, and she's also a palliative care expert. I just want to find out if there is the right time to start a conversation with a doctor or a care team regarding pain management during metastatic breast cancer disease.
Oops.
Zodwa, yes, thank you.
Good evening, ladies. Thank you so much, Brenda, for that introduction. Ladies, you are amazing, really. Actually, you just made me think about my sister.
Sure.
I wish she was part of you, So I don't know, Brenda, maybe can I just start by saying, being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer is overwhelming to the patient and to the family. I've seen it in my family when my sister was getting angry, depressed, like blaming everybody. I mean, like questioning the treatment she had and getting mad to a doctor, and also blaming herself for not beating cancer or that disease. So that's what happened to her. And what made things worse, Ray, like my sister, she said, Zota, please don't tell anybody. She didn't want her kids to know. The only time she shared with the family is when she had to go for mastectomy and chemotherapy, and it was shock. So as a caregiver, you can imagine now, and I wasn't staying with her. Just to summarize it, just to share her story. My sister presented with a pain on her left arm. There was nothing wrong with her breast. She didn't feel anything. She was going from this doctor to another doctor. And, like they'll give a pain medication, nothing, Also, as a nurse, I was also angry with myself. Maybe I need to mention that because I couldn't see that there was a problem coming. And I've done so many courses, so many training, but that time I wasn't trained palliative care nurse. So she changed so many doctors until this particular doctor said to her, Liz, let's send you for mammogram. So that's where they found that she's got stage 4 cancer. That's where the journey started. So it was not easy. And she was really getting down that time. And she was a state patient. So she wasn't on medical aid. It wasn't easy. So I wasn't staying with her. I remember that particular Friday, I was in Joburg and she was in Durban. My mom said to me, Zola, you better come home. Your sister is not doing well. So I took the earliest flight I could get. So when I arrived home, I could see that really this is like the beginning of the end. So we were just waiting for Monday so that we can take it to the hospital, one of the state hospital oncology department. So we went there. So the oncologist who saw her just paged through her file and said, sorry, Liz, there's nothing we can do for you. The cancer has spread, all over your body. We were just shocked. My mom was standing next to me, and she was so afraid. She was sitting on the wheelchair. Doctor was not even sympathetic. Or for me, what was really worrying me, like digging about the medication, how she's taking her medication. My sister's problem, I must tell you, there were two main problems. It was pain and constipation. She was taking her morphine incorrectly because she was scared of getting addicted to morphine. So can you see there was no information? I remember, when I asked my mom how is she, and as a nurse, I repeat, I didn't even know, that the morphine that you must take it every 4 hours, even you've got pain or not. So she would take maybe half a teaspoon, and I saw her that night when I was at home. She will squeeze her mattress and she said, daughter, that pain is too much. I cannot take it. And constipation was the main problem. So when we went to the oncologist, not even asking her, how much morphine are you taking? Is it working? And the constipation, like the problem. So when we wheeled her out of that doctor's room, I remember her standing looking at me, very dainty, she said, what next now? I was her hope, I was everything. I said to her, I didn't know what to say. I said, let's go home. We'll talk at home. So on our way home, I conducted hospice. So, they came and checked her, they organized for her to be admitted. She was very afraid and she was like losing conscious a little bit now. Can you imagine that doctor said, continue with your medication, not even like advising us to increase the medication. So she was admitted at the hospice. So for me, I said, do we have help providers who are like the palliative care team? The first thing, they put her bed, they made her comfortable, they gave her medication. And I remember her saying to me, like very sleepy, she said, Sota, I'm ready to go now. The pain is much better. I think I'm ready, I can go. So
thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank
for
you.
sharing such a personal story and your sister's experience, and you being the carer and being there, for her. I just want to ask maybe Ray or Mari, what advice would you give to cancer patients with regards to preparing for a conversation regarding pain management with their oncologist or health practitioners?
I don't have pain, so I can't really talk about how to manage pain. But what I can tell you is I once went to I was actually invited to a palliative care session. And I didn't want to go. I thought, no, but I'm not going to die anytime now. But I actually went and I've learned such a lot. I've learned about a living will. I've learned about how to manage pain. Because they say if your pain is managed, then it's like sort of easier for you to get through this journey. So yeah, it's really not easy. But I cannot really talk about pain because my cancer is not aggressive and my cancer isn't paining.
Pain is a game changer. Sorry, Zodwa. Continue.
Okay, that's fine. I wanted to touch on palliative care a bit because people they've got, when they hear the word palliative care, they think about death.
Yes.
That's the main problem. And I just want, Brenda, I want to go back. You know, when my sister was dying, I said to myself, Lord, I wish you can help me to get a chance to advocate for those patients who are really dying without accessing the proper care. So palliative care is really not for the end of life care. It starts when a person has been diagnosed with life-threatening illness. It provides that holistic care. You know, people are angry. Why me? Why am I being diagnosed? And it gives that psychosocial support and the pain. I mean, with my experience of palliative care, I've seen patients coming groaning of pain, but once that pain has been like managed, I mean, people, and we even if the time comes, we really want you to die with dignity, without any pain. So that's our main thing for palliative care. And also just to say something about managing related metastatic breast or cancer pain. Pain can affect your quality of life. You cannot do anything with got pain. So controlling pain is crucial part of care. Let your healthcare worker know about your pain. Don't say my pain is mild. You must just say, even if you feel that it's not, but that pain, talk about it. I always say that palliative care is your human right. You know, it's the part of your cancer care. So, and also, so you need to talk to your caregivers, and every visit you have with your whoever, your oncologist or your doctor, just discuss about your pain management, please. And again, and I wanted to just, Brenda, I know the time is against us. I just want to say, just be sure to ask your oncologist for referral. If your pain is not controlled, talk about it. Ask your oncologist to increase the medication. If you have any side effect, just talk to your oncologist or to your doctor. Or if you are worried becoming addicted, because those are one of the things people are worried about, that they're going to be addicted. And also you like to discuss other sources of distress. So I'm just summing up to say, really, though the pain, nobody should. You mustn't enjoy pain because you're a cancer patient. No. And yeah, that's me, Brenda. I don't know whether. And also, I'm so excited to share that, you know, Cancer Association and with our partners, we have collaborated with PALPREC, which is the Association of Palliative Care Practitioners of South Africa, to do the Children's Hospice, and PATCH, who are experts in palliative care. We've put together this booklet, which is called Cancer at Home Pain Guide for both adults and children. It's so simple, really. Even if I had that book, I would have helped my sister. It's written in simple language with some pictures, so it's very easy to follow. So you can download that booklet on our website. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, and also for highlighting that palliative care is a human right, and also it is a part of dignified care. You know, patients shouldn't suffer from pain when pain can be managed. So now I will just move to Cara from CANSA. I just want to find out, because she was involved in developing the program, with the patients. I want to find out what were the lessons learned from co-creating this program with patients, and also just to know how is CANSA supporting patients with metastatic breast cancer.
Thank you so much, Brenda, and everyone for the fantastic discussions. I think it was really wonderful. I think being a social worker, obviously blessed in my work, previously to have access to cancer patients of all cancers, really. But I think it's so important that there's a platform, and it's so difficult because cancer doesn't choose a specific cancer as a focus. We try to be there for as many cancers as possible and really help you with the coping. That really is part of our core business, that, we're not so focused on what the type of cancer you specifically have, but more about how can we as an organization, through other our different services, help you and your family actually cope and navigate through that. And you can hear from nearly everyone's discussion the role their families played, the need they have for support, and to process and understand and to work through your diagnosis. Those are such important parts of a cancer patient's journey. And when we talk about metastatic breast cancer patients, we talk about long-term patients. Just because you have a short-term cancer, which is obviously more period-based, okay, it's led to 2-3 years, X, Y, and Z, and technically you're in remission and you move on. But with our long-term cancer patients being metastatic, it's a very different situation. And we just know that not enough has really been done in terms of focusing on this, because it's kind of hard to speak about metastatic breast cancer. And obviously, like even any other metastatic or advanced type of cancer, because people don't know what to say. If you think what Mari said and Rianda, some of the comments, and then when Rianda said that when she bumped into her boss at the shops and he said, "Hey, are you still alive? Oh, it's good to see you, hey?" Do you know what I mean? I think it's, no one wants to talk about the difficult side of this. And that's why as CANSA, we're so grateful to also partner with Novartis on this, to actually just put a bit of a space out there, because a lot of metastatic breast cancer patients have no platform because no one knows how to start these kind of conversations. And it was so wonderful for me, just obviously just to learn. I think that's the thing, every day we're learning as cancer. If you look at Zolda from her personal experience to all the patients she's dealing with, I think we are constantly learning and growing and trying to offer services that are relevant and that are needed. And I think especially with the challenges that metastatic breast cancer patients face, this program was just so important, because as they said, sometimes there are really hard days and they can't get out of bed and they can't come to, for example, a cancer care center for a counseling session or a family counseling session, or even attend a support group, as you mentioned earlier. But for this program was also kind of like a safe way that they can have access in the comfort of their own home and working. So obviously we're very grateful to have 3 of the ladies join us today that were a part of this. There are also 3 other ladies. They were also part of the journey that really, was Sheila, Mercia, and they also were a wonderful, and Pamela, they were a fantastic part of this journey. And I think it's not easy, but we are always learning. I think something else that we can also promote, that we do have available for metastatic breast cancer patients, is CANSA's telephonic counseling service. And I think with lockdown, CANSA had to really think on our feet, be a lot quicker, because we could not serve our patients the normal way that we have been doing for 89 years. And we're getting calls from patients saying they need support, they're not coping, they're feeling so isolated, oncology and home. We know cancer patients obviously have a much higher risk of a COVID-19 diagnosis, because especially with an active treatment, they're so immunocompromised. And we had to just say, okay, this long-term plan in the next 2 years had to be like a 2-month plan. And we had to just get going, because we know that patients, if they're metastatic or not, can actually contact us from the comfort of their own home, because they need that support. And again, it was brought up again by everyone, not only for the cancer patient, but also for the loved ones. It's those caregivers that have been at home with patients during lockdown that have gone through a very, very difficult journey. Patients are not getting admitted to hospital as much. There's a lot more running up and down. Our patients on public transport, we had a terrible situation with a child family, for example. The mom and child spent 24 hours on public transport to get to Albert Lutuli Hospital. That is just some of the challenges that cancer patients and their loved ones are facing, let alone trying to cope mentally with all of the things that they're going through. So in terms of support, the Metastatic Eye Survivor program is available. Please join us at eyesurvivor.org.za. You can call us for a counselling session on our telephonic counselling service. It's in 7 different languages on 0800 22 66 22. It's free of charge. We will call you back at our cost. That's nothing you have to worry about. We have it in English, Afrikaans, isiZulu, isiXhosa, Siswati, and Sesotho. So we're hoping to reach as many South Africans that need us as possible. And lastly, we also have fantastic Facebook support groups. One of them is called Champs of Hope. We have fantastic patients that are on there from all different walks of life and different types of cancers. They're encouraging one another and giving them hope. So join that group. It's private, so don't worry. Anything you mention on there is not going to be visible unless your loved ones are sneakily joining there to stalk you. And then we also have one for the caregivers. Also so important. It's a different kind of support. It's encouraging each other with those daily challenges and with trying to support their loved ones. It's called Cancer Caring for the Carer. Those are just small ways right now within COVID that we can offer support, but we do still have our 23 care centers open. We still are offering services, but we do respect the fact that cancer patients are being told to have treatment and go home. And that's why we're offering you all our digital offerings at this stage.
Thank you, Cara. And it's quite commendable, that this program was developed in collaboration with patients, because I believe that we shouldn't do anything for patients without the patients. And this actually allowed you and your sponsors to walk in the patient's shoes and ensure that the program that is developed is patient-centric and also takes into account some of the concerns that others, service providers and other people might not be aware of. Now we'll move to Lucy and checking our chat platforms and see if there are any comments or questions that Lucy would like to raise with the panel.
Thank you, Brenda. I've been monitoring, and just to say to our patients, wow, those are very real personal stories that you're sharing and real insights. Getting to know the real challenges. It was fascinating. You've got some fans that have been watching you saying, proud to see my sis. Lovely, great insights, authentic, brave and inspiring, sharing very personal experiences. And also just the encouragement that's coming through. So we haven't got questions, but I think that you are inspiring and touching many people, and just the real conversations about what metastatic is. And also, Zodwa, thank you for that very personal story about your sister, a very real and education about palliative care. There are a lot of, sort of misconceptions out there. And thank you, Cara, for sharing the wonderful support that we do provide. And I think the great thing is that we had our patients that contributed to us putting this together. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lucy. I think this has been a very engaging conversation, and with the patients and sharing their vulnerabilities and their stories. So now we'll move to Dr. Gary Sofa, who is the Medical Director for Oncology at Novartis South Africa. Novartis is a sponsor for the Eye Survivor program.
Thank you, Brenda. Good evening, everybody. You might have been wondering, what's this guy sitting on the panel? He hasn't said anything yet. And it's really just wonderful to be truly humbled and honored to be with all of you in the audience this evening. As Brenda said, I'm Dr. Gary Sofa. I'm the Medical Director for the Novartis Oncology Division. For those of you, you might have come across the name, or you might not have. Novartis is a multinational pharmaceutical company. We research and develop and market a lot of the medicines that are used in the treatment and the support of patients with all stages of of breast cancer. And we are so proud and pleased to have had this opportunity to collaborate with CANSA on this iSurvivor initiative. Is really something that's so well timed to support metastatic breast cancer patients. You know, of course, using email and digital communication channels is really a wonderful addition to CANSA's support offerings. You know, during these times, to get patients to get the support that they need without risking harmful exposure, and not only to COVID, but so many other conditions that they can avoid by engaging with the Cancer Group Association via the iSurvivor program. Well done to everybody at the Cancer Association for putting together this wonderful program. We'd really look forward as Novartis to ongoing collaboration with you and to help support patients in improved and more meaningful ways. Thank you again for the opportunity to be with you this evening, and good luck with the iSurvivor program, and we hope to be able to support you with a lot of further initiatives. Thank you very much, and back to you, Brenda.
Thank you, Gary, Dr. Gary Sofa, and thank you to Novartis for supporting such a instrumental program of ensuring that breast cancer patients, especially metastatic breast cancer, have access to support from home, especially because some of them cannot attend face-to-face meetings.
Brenda, can I add something just very quickly? For Dr. Gary, I was on one of their drugs called Afinitor everolimus, which kept me stable for 18 months. So that was a good one.
Thanks, Marie. Great to hear that. Well done to you.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now I'm just going to move to Kara, who is going to do a vote of thanks on behalf of CANSA.
Thank you so much, Brenda. I think it's a difficult one, but there was also a special member of our group of 7 ladies that was part of the journey, and actually a very strong, tough, brave lady that unfortunately passed away while we were actually finalizing the program, and that is Sandra Gennaro Ninaba, and she was really like a fantastic part of our little very active WhatsApp group, and so encouraging to others and caring and kind, and it was really hard for everyone. I think it just also very hard reality amid trying to do something so special, but yeah, she was also someone that contributed, and someone that I think if she had seen this and the end product, I think she'd be really proud of everyone. And yeah, she's always advocating for patients to get more support, and I think this is something she's really proud of. So we just also want to thank her and just remember her for a minute, just because, you know, it's what's right, even though it's a bit of a sad way. But yeah, it's someone we'd just like to honor. And then just a huge thank you from myself and CANSA for the involvement of our fantastic patients. I think Mari and Ray and Rianda and Mercia, Pamela, Washila, you guys were absolutely incredible. We are so grateful for your honesty and openness and your warmth, and for agreeing to all my crazy ideas. I think I'm really, really grateful. You guys made this so wonderful, and thanks for teaching me so much. And I think for anyone listening here today, we just really hope that you will walk away with something. If you and your family have been affected by metastatic breast cancer or any other cancer, for you to see 3 dynamic women who are going through very difficult things, but are still carrying their heads up. Their bodies are maybe like not always working properly, but they are smiling, and they have a gorgeous lipstick on, all of them, and they are carrying on. And I think, thank you so much, ladies, for that inspiration that you give. And we know that it's going to be very hard for people to walk away from this without a smile on their face and feeling a little bit more inspired. And thank you so much to Novartis, to Marlies and Gary for your belief in us. Yeah, these are definitely difficult times. We know the NGO sector has really been hit hard during COVID, and and we're still being hit hard. So thank you so much for helping us still to be able to help patients, but just in a bit of a different way. So your commitment to us really means so much, and to my colleague Zodwa, and to Lucy and the marketing team, and to Brenda. We're just so blessed that we all came together. I think it was a really great fit. Hopefully it won't be the last you see of this amazing squad of people. So watch the space. But thank you so much to everyone for being part of this, and for the viewers. We do apologize for a bit of the delay, but thank you for joining us, and for, hopefully you walk away with something, and you were touched by these 3 wonderful women. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this evening, and also for the conversation that you've had with all our panelists. Please note that the recordings of this conversation will be available on all the CANSA online platforms, which includes the website, Facebook, and other platforms. Please join us. Let's connect with hope, so that we can ensure that no metastatic breast cancer patient has to be alone with the diagnosis. Thank you for joining us, and wishing you all a good evening. And thank you to the panelists for an engaging conversation.